I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Isaiah chapter 18 verses 2 and 7 refers to a nation tall, smooth-skinned, to a people feared far and wide, aggressive nation whose land is divided by the waters. This nation must be reached by swift boats over the waters. Why is this nation not the quote good old US of A? Well, that's a great question because as we read the biblical text, there is today the United States as well as other nations that are not mentioned in the biblical text. And so the question becomes, are there potential references to? And there's a host of places that people have seemed to find potential references to what we know as the Americas, or what we might call the Western Hemisphere, because all the activity within the biblical context is in the Eastern Hemisphere. So let's talk about this passage. It's talking about a land on the other side of Ethiopia, which places it in the midst of Africa, whom, and by the way, if you'll go back and read the text, it says whom they travel by the sea. And of course, that would be on the other side of the sea or the waters. Well, if you're in the Middle East, i.e. Israel, in the context of this passage, because that's who Israel was, or who Isaiah was speaking to, well, two locations. First, what we know is the Red Sea, that famous body of water that the Lord parted for Moses and the Israelites to come through. The Red Sea is between Ethiopia and Israel, as well as the Arabian Sea if you find yourself on the far southeast coast of Africa. Here's what's important. It says that this land is on the other side of Ethiopia. It doesn't say on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, it says other side of Ethiopia, which I would argue would mean within the context of Africa. And if somebody on the southwest side of Ethiopia desired to make their way into Israel, well, you could go all the way up to Egypt and go by land, or you could go by the Red Sea, or based if it was a little bit south, you could go by the Arabian Sea. At the end of the day, I think you and I would be hard pressed to place the United States of America or any other place in what we know as the Western Hemisphere into this section and or others, because there is no even remote reference of what we know as a peoples outside of the continents of Africa, the Middle East, Eastern Europe in the biblical text, particularly in what we know as the book of Isaiah. That being said, when you go back to these passages, there are lessons to be learned as far as those of us in the United States of America. They just may not be passages regarding the United States of America. Great question. If you have one, send to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thank you so much for being a part of our daily question here at the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. I want to encourage you on a few things. Number one, if you have a question to ask, submit it to AskJeff.net. Eventually, we'll get around to your question. Secondly, we'd encourage you to subscribe. That way, each and every day, Monday through Friday, you get a reminder of our question of the day. And last but not least, I want to remind you that on Wednesday evenings, live at First Baptist Church of Opelika, FBCOpelika.com, we do a solid hour of Ask Jeff where we dig into the questions more than just 60 or 90 seconds. Sometimes we take the entire hour. All that being said, AskJeff.net is where you submit a question to this channel each and every day, Monday through Friday.